There are moments in life when logic can't explain everything, and only your soul can truly understand what's happening deep within. Sometimes, a word, a melody, or even a prayer resonates so deeply that you know it was meant just for you. If you're hearing these words today, then it's no accident. It may very well be that God has something special to say to you now. There are stories passed down through generations about a prayer, once hidden away, that holds incredible power. It's a prayer so profound that anyone who recited it with true faith experienced miracles, events that seemed impossible. Some claim it was forbidden because of how effective it was, how it awakened an inner strength within each person that could change their lives. People have different ideas of where it originated. Some say it was found in ancient texts from the desert. Others believe it was quietly passed on by monks in monasteries. But what truly matters is not where it began, but the transformation that occurs when someone speaks these words with a heart full of belief. Have you ever prayed, asked for help, and yet found that your life remained the same? You asked for peace, but your heart stayed restless. You hoped for blessings, but doors remained shut. Perhaps it's not that God hasn't heard your prayers, but that you haven't yet spoken the language He wants to hear, a language of absolute faith. This is the language the forbidden prayer unlocks. A long time ago, a man named Thomas discovered this powerful prayer, hidden in an ancient Aramaic scripture, the very language Jesus used to speak to His disciples. Thomas was not only a scholar, but a man in deep despair. He had lost his job, his wife had left him, and his financial world had collapsed. But in his darkest moment, he found this prayer, and every night he recited it before going to sleep. The first week, nothing changed. By the second week, however, Thomas dreamt of a door opening with a radiant light, and a gentle voice said, "You are ready." The very next day, an old friend offered him a job. Thomas didn't believe it was a coincidence. From that point on, he recited the prayer daily, and his life began to transform. You see, the power of prayer isn't just in the words we speak, it's in the energy we send out when we speak them. When you pray with sincerity, faith, and gratitude, as if your desires have already been fulfilled, you begin to awaken the divine energy within yourself. Jesus taught us this when He said, "Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." This is the key to unlocking the divine power within. When you believe that you already have what you ask for, the universe begins to move in your favor. The forbidden prayer is designed to help you shift your mindset, from waiting to receiving, from scarcity to abundance, from fear to trust. If you've been struggling, whether with debt, exhaustion, or feelings of being trapped, take this moment as a sign. It's not a sign to beg, but a reminder that you are a beloved child of God, worthy of His blessings. Before you continue, take a moment to breathe deeply. Close your eyes and ask yourself, am I truly ready to receive a miracle? If your heart answers yes, then know that a powerful transformation is about to begin. As you listen to the words of this prayer, you may feel warmth filling your body or a deep sense of peace. That's your spirit opening up, connecting with God's divine light. Don't try to understand it, just believe in it. The miracles that come through prayer don't always come from outside. They begin within you. When you believe with all your heart, the universe aligns to answer your call. This isn't just a religious ritual. It's a soul journey. It's a path that leads you from fear to trust, from suffering to peace, and from lack to abundance. Every word of this prayer brings you closer to your divine essence. If you've stayed until now, it's a clear sign that you were chosen to hear this message. trust that this is the moment for you to experience transformation. And if you feel peace in your heart as you listen, if you believe that God is speaking directly to you, consider subscribing to Daily Jesus Message, where you'll receive messages that nourish your faith and open the doors to the prosperity you deserve. Miracles are real, and God is still working wonders in the world today. Sometimes, all it takes is one prayer, said at the right time, with true faith, to change everything. One such story begins in a small, dimly lit room where a man named Michael sat, surrounded by overdue bills, feeling hopeless. His eyes were red from the stress, and the silence of the room felt suffocating. Michael had hit rock bottom. He had lost his job, his bank account was empty, and his relationship had fallen apart. Life felt like it was closing in on him, and the faith he once had seemed to fade away with each passing day. He prayed, but it felt like no one was listening. Every time he closed his eyes, the voice of doubt echoed louder, asking, "If God truly loves you, why are you suffering like this?" One night, in his darkest moment, he was ready to give up, seeking some comfort. He opened his phone to find music to help him sleep. Instead, he saw a video with the title, "The Forbidden Lord's Prayer, the prayer that changes everything." Something about it intrigued him, so he clicked on it. The voice in the video was calm and deep, speaking as if it was meant for him alone. "Nothing happens by accident," the voice said. "If you're hearing this, it's because you've been chosen. Believe, because the miracle is very near." Michael felt a surge of hope and listened intently. When the speaker recited the prayer, he followed along in the quiet of his room, whispering each word. There were no dramatic flashes, no loud noises, just a profound sense of peace that filled his heart. A feeling he hadn't experienced in a long time. The next morning, although nothing seemed different on the surface, Michael felt lighter. He repeated the prayer for the next 3 days, and on the 4th, an unexpected email arrived. His old company offered him a new position with a higher salary. He couldn't believe it. That night, he cried, not because of the money, but because he finally felt heard. Grateful, he continued praying for the next 7 days. And soon after, other positive changes started to unfold. An old friend contacted him with a collaboration opportunity. A neighbor returned money he had lent years ago. Slowly, but surely, his life began to change. But the most remarkable shift wasn't just financial. It was internal. Michael's mindset transformed. He stopped worrying about scarcity and started thanking God for everything he had, believing that all his needs were already provided. That was when the true miracle happened. This prayer, however, is not just about words. It's a bridge that connects the human soul to the divine. It's a reminder that God is always listening. Sometimes, he simply waits for us to open our hearts. Many others heard Michael's story and began to pray, too. A woman from Texas prayed for 7 nights and landed her dream job, despite having been rejected 3 times. A man from California rediscovered a forgotten lottery ticket and won just enough to pay off his debts. Though each person's story was different, they all felt a powerful, positive shift within them, like God was actively working in their lives. You might be feeling lost, just like Michael once did, trapped in despair and doubt. But if you're here, listening to these words, know that a miracle is already beginning. Every miracle starts with a shift in the heart, a decision to believe. When you choose faith, the universe begins to align in your favor, not as a reward, but as a natural response to your trust in God. Faith is the key that opens doors. It's not something that can be explained by logic. but by divine energy. And this prayer is a reminder that you already hold that key. If you ever wonder whether God hears you, remember this the moment you pray with sincerity. He begins working on your behalf. You might not see the results immediately, but the path is already being paved. Every word you speak with faith is like planting a seed. And although you can't see the roots, you can trust that the tree is growing. Faith is seeing with your heart before your eyes can see it in the physical world. By nurturing this faith every day with this prayer, you're tuning your soul to a higher frequency, one that naturally attracts the good things you deserve. If you're ready for your financial breakthrough, start by praying with belief. Every time you say the financial prayer with a heart full of trust, you're aligning yourself with divine prosperity. It may not be instantaneous, but the change will come. Keep praying, keep believing, and watch as the doors to your abundance open, one after another. Take a moment to think about what you truly desire most in life. Whether it's the money to pay off your debts, a new job, or simply peace in your heart. Now, imagine that it's already arrived. Feel the joy, the relief, and the deep gratitude that fills your soul. Those powerful feelings of joy and gratitude are the strongest signals you can send to heaven. In just a moment, as we continue this journey together, you'll hear the full forbidden prayer, the one believed to have the ability to transform your life, if you truly believe. But before we dive deeper, let's do something simple. Take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, "I believe." These 3 words are your declaration to God that you're ready to receive your miracle. Michael's story may have sparked hope within you, and I urge you not to let that flame die out. If you're ready to walk this path of faith, consider subscribing to Bond with God, where you'll receive daily prayers, real-life stories, and powerful messages that bring you closer to the peace and prosperity God has already prepared for you. Because sometimes, just one prayer, one message, one moment of faith can change everything. And the next part of this journey will reveal the true power of this prayer and why it was once hidden away, how you can bring it to life in your own world. There comes a moment in every believer's life when the question arises, why does God allow me to struggle? It's a question that lingers in the silence of sleepless nights, the weight of unpaid bills, and the feeling of dreams that never seem to come true. But what if the answer isn't that God is silent, but that we've misunderstood the nature of abundance? Jesus, in his teachings, wasn't speaking to kings or the wealthy elite. He was talking to fishermen, widows, workers, and people with calloused hands and tired hearts. Yet, his words were filled with the promise of divine abundance. I came so that they may have life and have it more abundantly. That simple but powerful line from John 10:10 holds a secret that many have forgotten. Abundance is not just for the afterlife. It's meant to be experienced here and now. Jesus didn't promise that we would have life only after death. He spoke of the abundance of life right here on earth. He wasn't just talking about eternal salvation, but about heaven's blessings flowing into our lives in the present. For those who open their hearts to believe, the true message Jesus taught about wealth is not about greed or materialism. It's about alignment, aligning your mind and heart with God's divine provision. When you see yourself as a beloved child of God, lack loses its power. After all, how can the child of the Creator ever be abandoned or live in scarcity when the Father owns everything? The only poverty that exists is the poverty of thought, the belief that you are lacking. It's not the emptiness of your wallet, but the emptiness of your belief. Every time you say, "I can't, it's too late, I'll never make it," You are closing the door that God is trying to open for you. Jesus came to break those chains. He saw the sick, the forgotten, the poor, and he said, "Your faith has made you whole." Notice, he didn't say, "Your tears have made you whole," or "Your luck has made you whole." He said, "Your faith." This is the key. Faith is a creative force. It turns your spiritual desires into reality. Faith isn't just hope. Faith is the belief that what you ask for already exists, waiting for you to claim it. Think of faith like a seed buried in dark soil. It can't see the light, but it still grows toward it, trusting in the existence of the sun. Faith works the same way. Even when you don't see the answer yet, deep inside, your spirit knows that God has already provided. When you pray the forbidden Lord's Prayer, you're not begging God for something new. Instead, you are awakening your awareness to what has always been yours. This prayer shifts your perspective from waiting for a blessing to realizing you are already standing in the blessing. It's a transformation of the mind and heart. Jesus often used parables to teach deep truths, but the core message was always the same. Faith leads to action. Consider the parable of the talents. One man buried his talent, while the other used it and multiplied it. The message is clear. God blesses movement, not fear. So, ask yourself, are you ready to move forward in faith? Are you ready to open your heart and align with God's divine abundance? Remember, when you pray with true faith, whether it's a prayer for finances, a prayer for financial breakthrough, or simply a prayer to attract money, you are not asking for something new. You're acknowledging what has already been provided. Faith is the key that unlocks the doors to your prosperity. And with every prayer, you draw closer to the wealth, peace, and abundance that is rightfully yours. When you truly believe that abundance flows through you, it changes everything about how you live, how you think, and how you move through life. You begin to walk with divine confidence, knowing that the universe has your back. Many people mistakenly believe that faith means simply waiting for miracles to fall from the sky. But real faith isn't passive, it's active. Faith is the driving force that propels you to take action. It's what pushes you to apply for a job again even after facing rejection, to forgive someone even when the pain is still fresh, or to give from what little you have, knowing that generosity opens the doors to heaven. Jesus himself warned that wealth without purpose is empty. In the story of the rich young ruler, he told him that it is hard for the wealthy to enter the kingdom of God, not because money is evil, but because the attachment to it blinds us to the deeper purpose of life. True abundance isn't about hoarding, it's about sharing. Just like a river that stops flowing becomes stagnant. The blessings in your life are meant to flow through you to bless others. When you pray for abundance, don't just pray for yourself, but ask for the ability to bless others as well. That is where true prosperity begins. Give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Luke 6:38. This is not just a promise of return, but a reminder that generosity keeps you aligned with the divine flow of heaven. Now, reflect on your own life. Where have you been holding on to fear instead of faith? Where have you believed in limits rather than trusting in the limitless power of God? Take a deep breath, and in the quiet of your heart, say, "I release my fear. I trust in your abundance." It's in that moment of surrender, where you stop trying to control everything, that the miracle begins. It's not magic, it's trust. When you release control, you make space for divine timing and alignment. Miracles may not always look like you expect. They might come in the form of an unexpected opportunity, a call from someone at the right moment, or even a debt being cleared out of the blue. But make no mistake, these are not coincidences. These are manifestations of divine alignment, showing you that you are in the right place at the right time. The Forbidden Lord's Prayer carries this same message. When you pray, "Your will of wealth be done on earth as it is in heaven," you're not asking for more for the sake of greed. You're inviting the divine flow of heaven's abundance to manifest on earth through your relationships, your work, and your finances. But to truly unlock this flow, you must pray with a heart full of gratitude, not anxiety. Thank God as though the blessing has already come. Gratitude is the language of heaven. And when you thank God before seeing the results, you are demonstrating faith. Faith, in turn, is the currency that unlocks miracles. Jesus, before multiplying the loaves and fishes, lifted his eyes and gave thanks to God. It was in that moment of gratitude that the miracle was activated. The same principle applies to you. When you say, "Thank you, Lord, for the doors you're opening for me," you create the energy that causes those doors to swing wide open. There is a powerful shift that happens when you move from complaining to praising. No longer do you align with lack, but with the divine flow of abundance. The more you express gratitude, the more you open yourself to receive from heaven. So tonight, before you go to sleep, don't pray from a place of fear. Don't say, "Please, Lord, help me." Instead, say, "Thank you, Lord, for blessing me beyond measure," and believe that the blessings are already on their way. If you're watching this and feeling a stirring inside you, perhaps a warmth in your chest or a peace you haven't felt in a long time, that is the Spirit reminding you that you were never forgotten. You were created for abundance, for joy, for peace. Poverty is not your identity. Struggle is not your destiny. You were born to reflect the richness of your Creator. Stay with me because in the next part, you'll learn how to activate this divine flow in your daily life through a simple 7-day practice that many have called the Week of Miracles. It's not superstition, it's alignment, it's faith put into action. This is how you start to see miracles unfold in your life, beginning with your prayer for money and prayer for money miracle. The divine abundance is waiting for you. It's time to align with it and watch your life change. And before we continue, if this message is speaking to your heart, take a moment to subscribe to Bond with God. It's not just a channel. It's a place where faith is renewed every day, where stories of transformation remind you that you are never alone. When you stay connected, your spirit stays fed. Now take one last deep breath. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, "I am ready." Because from this moment forward, the lesson of Jesus about abundance will no longer be theory. It will become your experience. If you have made it this far, something inside you has already started to shift. You may not see it yet, but the change is happening quietly, like a seed sprouting beneath the soil. In this part, you will learn how to activate the power of the Forbidden Lord's Prayer through a sacred rhythm, a simple 7-day ritual that has changed lives all over the world. Before you begin, understand this. This is not magic, not superstition. This is a conscious agreement between your faith and God's promise. The number 7 is sacred. It represents completion. God created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th. The walls of Jericho fell after 7 days of marching. Elijah's servant saw the cloud of rain on the 7th look. 7 days represent divine timing, the point where heaven meets earth. So, when you commit to 7 days of prayer, you are telling heaven, "I am ready for completion." You are declaring that the cycle of struggle ends here and the season of blessing begins. Now, let's walk together through the 7 days. Each day has a focus, a meaning, and an energy. Day 1, opening the heart. Find a quiet space. Sit still, breathe deeply, whisper the forbidden Lord's Prayer slowly, line by line. Don't rush. This is not about speed. It's about presence. As you say each word, imagine a door opening inside your chest. Feel your heart soften. Forgive yourself for every moment you doubted, every time you felt unworthy. Say, I forgive myself. I am ready to receive. This first day is not about asking for anything. It's about preparing the soil of your soul. A closed heart cannot hold abundance. So let go. Cry if you must. Breathe if you need to. Heaven listens to sincerity more than perfection. Day 2, releasing fear. Fear is the shadow that blocks faith. Today, after saying the prayer, write down every fear that keeps you awake at night. Fear of not having enough, fear of losing, fear of rejection. Then tear that paper into small pieces and whisper, "These fears no longer control me." As you do this, visualize those fears dissolving into light. God cannot fill hands that are clenched tight. When you release fear, you make room for faith to flow. Day 3. Speaking gratitude. This is the day of Thanksgiving. Speak aloud 10 things you are grateful for. Not just the big things, but the small ones too. A roof, a meal, a friend, the breath in your lungs. Gratitude changes the vibration of your heart. After the prayer, sit in silence for a few minutes and feel gratitude as if your miracles have already arrived. If you can feel that joy now before you see the result will have no choice but to appear. Day 4. Declaring abundance. Use your words to shape reality. The tongue has power. Say with conviction, I live in divine abundance. Money flows to me in expected and unexpected ways. Opportunities are finding me now. Don't whisper it timidly. Speak it with authority. You are not demanding, you are aligning. Jesus said, "Whoever says to this mountain, 'Be removed,' and does not doubt, it will be done." Your words are the tools of creation. Use them. You can also write affirmations like, I am chosen for prosperity. I am open to receive. I walk in divine favor. Post them where you will see them daily. On your mirror, your phone, your notebook. The more you see it, the more your mind believes it. Day 5. Taking aligned action. Faith without action is incomplete. On this day, take one small step toward your goal. Send that email, apply for that job, start that project, or even forgive someone who hurt you. It doesn't have to be big. God blesses movement, not stagnation. When you act from faith, heaven supports your step. You are no longer waiting passively. You are co-creating your destiny with God. Every door you knock on in faith is a door you give heaven permission to open. Day 6, expecting miracles. This is where the atmosphere starts to shift. By now, you've opened your heart, released fear, spoken gratitude, declared abundance, and taken action. Now it's time to expect results. Expectation is faith in motion. When you wake up on day 6, smile before you even get out of bed. Say, something good is coming to me today. Keep that energy alive throughout the day. Don't chase miracles, expect them. Watch for small signs, a message, a phone call, a stranger's kindness. They are signals that the divine flow has begun. Remember, miracles often start as whispers before they become storms of blessing. Day 7, celebration and surrender. On the 7th day, light a candle if you can. Sit in gratitude. Read the prayer once more slowly. reverently. Then say, "It is done. I receive. I am free." That phrase is powerful because it closes the loop of faith. You are no longer waiting. You are receiving. You no longer ask. You thank. You are telling God that you trust His timing and His way. Spend the rest of the day in peace. Celebrate quietly. Listen to uplifting music. Go for a walk. Smile more. Your spirit has shifted even if nothing visible has changed yet. Everything in the unseen realm already has. After completing the 7 days, many people describe a deep calm as if a heavy weight has lifted. Some notice opportunities showing up within hours. Others feel a renewed energy, a creative spark, or unexpected calls that bring new hope. The results differ, but the transformation is universal. The fear dissolves, and faith takes its rightful place. Now, here's a secret that few understand. The goal of this ritual is not just to attract money or solve problems. It's to rebuild the bridge between you and the source. When your connection with God strengthens, abundance follows naturally, like sunlight following dawn. Repeat this 7-day cycle whenever you feel disconnected or heavy. You can start again at any time. Faith is not a one-time act. It's a rhythm. The more consistent you are, the stronger the flow becomes. Let this practice be a sacred meeting with God, not a chore. Make it personal. Talk to Him. Tell Him your hopes, your fears, your dreams. Listen for that gentle whisper in your heart. As you complete this 7-day practice, remember that the true power of this prayer lies not in the words themselves, but in the faith and intention behind them. The journey you've just begun is not just about attracting money or resolving immediate struggles. It's about realigning yourself with the abundant flow of God's love and provision. When you strengthen your connection with the divine, miracles naturally follow. You might not see immediate results, but trust that shifts are happening in the spiritual realm. Each prayer, each act of faith brings you closer to the life of abundance you were always meant to live. Keep this practice close to your heart, for faith is not a one-time event but a continuous rhythm that grows stronger with every step you take. So, continue walking in trust, believing that your breakthrough is not just a matter of time, but a divine promise. You were created for abundance, joy, and peace. Let this prayer guide you back to that truth. God's abundance is always with you, and as you stay connected, you will begin to witness the miracles unfold, step by step. Keep believing, keep praying, and watch how the doors of prosperity open wide. Your divine journey has just begun.